Hey, how's it going, everyone? This is Kevin from Audio Digital. Here we are in 3.3. The update has come out in beta, and I just did a video talking about some things that I thought were missing from Bitwig. And did they address any of those things in this new update? They addressed one of them, which is still pretty cool. They've done some other things here that I did not see coming, but are generally welcome. This is not a huge update, hence the 3.3 instead of 3.5 or 4 or whatever. So I think they're gauging things well for what they've added. A single point integer was warranted. They're not overhyping this stuff. So and it's pretty cool. I'm gonna go into especially go over most of the updates and most of the new things. Not everything, because some of it is probably not worth a video. Unless you guys really want me to drill through every single thing, you can let me know in the comments. But I'm going to go over the implications of what's here, and we're going to see how awesome this stuff really is. So here we are with the brand new device, Polymer. Polymer is kind of a new take on the grid in a sense. It's a semi-modular synthesizer based on grid modules. So it really is just a different way to access grid technology and to get into making some sounds very quickly. A lot of the sounds that you might want to create are going to be on the more simple side. So just having an oscillator, a filter, and some envelopes and a sub, this is a really quick and easy way to make some bass synths, some pads, all kinds of different synthesizer sounds really quickly and easily. And the cool thing about it is that if you start to come up against some limitations, you need some more filters, you need some more oscillators, you can convert this very quickly and easily into a full-on grid patch where there are going to be no limitations. So for a lot of instances, when you're doing sound design, you probably will want to start in Polymer. And if you can get it done there, you're good to go. Otherwise, you can go ahead and convert it and keep working from there. So this is something I did not expect to see. I hadn't even, certainly wasn't on my radar. But this is part of the workflow and design that Bitwig is trying to do. They're trying to make things quick and easy, especially for sound design. And I think so one criticisms to 3.3 people might have is that it seems to be based a lot in sound design type stuff. And for me, as a sound designer, as someone who loves to create sounds, that's not, I'm not sad exactly about that. I can understand other people's frustrations. But this is what they're good at. When they first came out with Bitwig, they said it was like a DAW for sound designers, for people who are heavy into sound design. And they've kept true to that, although the workflow is also very good. And we do have the one workflow enhancement that I had asked for. But again, guys, no MSEG. Come on, Bitwig. Come on, guys. It can't be that hard. We want it. It should be there. MSEG. Come on. Throw a guy a bone here. And also no step recording yet. But again, it is just 0.3. We went from 0.2 to 0.3, so I'm not expecting everything. Now let's get back to Polymer here. Is this a good addition? I say so. It's really easy just to come in and start messing about with things and get all kinds of different sounds. If I want to change out this particular oscillator and I want to go to the new Wavetable oscillator, which we'll get more into, it's very easy to do that. I can modulate it here with this sub oscillator, which adds a lot of interest. I can scan up and down really easily. And of course I can modulate any of these things using the modulation section here. So when you're thinking about this stuff, realize that this is more powerful just by itself than most other synths, because you have unlimited modulation, and all the modulation is audio rate, and you can layer things really easily. You have basically built-in unlimited arpeggiators and effects and everything. So even this simple synth is extraordinarily powerful. Now let's just take a quick look at some of the wavetables that are available to us. I've imported, quote unquote, a lot of different wavetables from a bunch of different sources here, and they show up in this new view. It draws a wavetable diagram for each one of these ones, even the ones that aren't part of the of the factory set. So that's really cool, and it's really easy to throw something in and start messing with it and getting some variations. And I really like the selection that they've given us here. And of course, it's really easy to come in and give ourselves an LFO and start modulating this thing. And I like to go through and see what the different things are. Let's look at the Bitwig set. You get these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 categories. Cool acoustic stuff here. Banjo. It's a very extensive set of wavetables that open up a whole new world of possibilities. Now, while I'm here, I just want to take a look at the new Arpeggiator that I'm using here. And it's not really new, there's one new feature. There's the skip function here. And basically it just causes a skip to happen. And what that really translates into is that you can get certain variations in the pattern, as you can kind of hear. And at the end of the day, that's cool. You can automate which step is going to be skipped or not. It's fully modulatable stuff here. If I put in a classical code, you can see that I can automate the skip steps. So that's going to allow you to do more complexity. It's not a super exciting feature. What I hope they will do is give us a row here where we can have it reset, so that it'll start with the first note or the lowest note you played when it comes to that step, and then go through the sequence here. And that allows us to do, especially for live use of the arpeggiator, it makes it a lot more coherent and go along with the beat. We have a couple of new modulators here. They're basically ones that they added, I think, specifically to facilitate the wavetable and Polymer. This one here basically just simplifies vibrato, automatically giving you a connection to the mod wheel for use with the vibrato. I don't know that this one's very exciting for me, but it does make things a little bit more simple. When I want exactly just a vibrato, I can just do one click. So it basically is there to both save you like a few clicks and to make it more simple inside of the use of the Polymer here. And then we have this ramp, which is kind of useful. It has no secondary view like this does, but it's basically to drive the index of the wavetable oscillator. That's kind of the point of it. And kind of disappointingly, like a lot of the things in Bitwig, it only goes up to 10 seconds. I would have liked to seen this go up to 100 seconds at least. Sometimes you just want to do a really slow grind through a wavetable, evolving over the course of a very long time when you're doing ambient stuff or whatever. And so 10 seconds, I don't know, man. But this is also one I probably wouldn't use very much because it's pretty limited. It's kind of cool for just a fast ability to scan through your wavetable. but it's not really that much easier than just using a LFO, and I can get the LFO a lot slower. I believe, yeah, I can go down to 0.01, I believe, in the LFO. Let me double check here real quick before I tell you guys that. I can get down to 0.2, which is, what, 20 seconds? Or 200 seconds? I should know that. If it's here, then it takes 10 seconds. Yeah. And so this is like 50 seconds, I guess. Right. Anyway, you do the math. So this is probably what I use, and of course you just do this and you get the same ramp functionality. You can make it monopolar. So anyway, but this is fast and so forth. But these aren't things to get excited about, in my opinion. They don't really change the game in any significant way, but they are there. The other thing that is new is this new sub-oscillator. Again, this is here primarily just to facilitate polymer. I think it makes things slightly more convenient. And when we look at it in this view, this is what it looks like in the grid. So it is fast to get these particular waveforms because no other single oscillator gives you this selection of waveforms. That's cool. And then the ability to kind of drop it down by octave really quickly is convenient. So a lot of these things are convenience things, I think, tuned and built because they wanted to make polymer really fast and convenient. So as I'm starting to mess with this, I'm seeing that it does give you a good deal of range with a very small package of tools. So yeah, I think I am going to try using it. We'll see in a month or so if I just start going straight to the grid or not, or if I always start here. We'll see. So another thing that is new that I think is pretty cool is some new modulation features. And these are also convenient sort of things. A lot of what you can do with this, you could already do. But let me just demonstrate it for you and you'll get an idea of what we're dealing with here. So I have this LFO modulating the filter here. And here we have a new little parameter that allows me to change the shape of whatever is being modulated to this source here. So to this destination actually. So like let's say I switch to exponential. You can hear the difference there. It's spending more time at the upper levels than at the lower levels, and it sounds different. If I do logarithmic, it will get the opposite effect. It's spending most of the time in the lower part. So this is an easy way to get kind of a different sound out of your modulation and a different response curve. You can use this with macros to make them respond more in the upper range than the lower range. And it's just really easy to click here. I would have, of course, appreciated a custom one where we could draw some sort of a map. That would be really great. Hopefully that can be a custom one. That would be really tight. And also you can modulate the amount by another modulator. This is something that you can do with most of the devices anyway, but with this what we can do is click on this macro and then go over to this and then click on it. And then this is now modulating how much of the LFO is going to reach the filter here. So I just turn that off and I turn it up. Turn it down. So pretty cool. It's really quick and easy way to modulate the amounts of things instead of using this, which, you know, I could just modulate this amount here, but I think this is kind of nice for housekeeping and so forth. So yeah, I definitely like it. I'm definitely into this. Okay, so back to the grid, y'all. We got the new Wavetable, but when I right click on here, it doesn't show up. Okay, that's because it's not one of those kind of perfectly hot swappable modules. It doesn't have the shape and the other thing there. So I'm assuming didn't put it in because they want to keep these kind of same ones together. But let's go ahead and put it in and see what it looks like. Now we already kind of went over it within Polymer, But the difference here is that you can, of course, plug a bunch of different stuff into it really easily, and you're not just using the modulation system with it, but you're using grid connections. Now, what I want to really look at here, which is really cool, is the unison. It's I've been wanting a nice fat unison from the grid for a while. We have the swarm oscillator, but you're limited to the waveforms you can do. So within this wavetable synthesizer here, and you of course can use this in Polymer as well, you have up to 16 voice unison, and it sounds pretty great. Let me get an interesting waveform here. Let's just go with this one. It's cool. So to get that working, we just basically click on this little dial here, and we can choose our unison. Let's go for 7 right now. And it's automatically going to be in stereo. We can change it so that it's not in stereo, or have it in stereo. We can change the detune here. And then there's a couple of different modes here, several different modes. We have focused, we have fat, which we're listening to now. We have focused, and then we have complex. I really like the sound of complex. And when we push it all the way up into 16, it's pretty nice. So I'm digging the unison a lot. So one disadvantage though to this whole approach is that we do have the ability to modulate this wavetable with a at the phase port here, and which is really great. And so I can just add a sine wave to here, and I can get a different sound. But the unfortunate part is that if I start using unison at the same time, it gets a little crazy. You get kind of this distortion sound. So it's not so clean anymore, it doesn't sound so great anymore. And it doesn't really give you that fat kind of unison sound. And the reason for that is because it's really modulating the signal after the unison is applied, because that's all it can do. The way that the grid works is that the each signal has to be independently processed within the module itself. So there's no way for me to modulate the actual table segment itself and then unison it. It has to be done afterwards, right? Because the system doesn't know what each module is going to do, if that makes any sense. So ultimately, the only way that we could get some nice format module or kind of wave shaping, or like bend plus and minus and those sort of things that you find in most other wavetable synthesizers, is if they added some of those things to this module itself. And I hope they do that. And Bitwig, if you're watching this, that might be too much to add in this particular release, but I really feel like this wavetable needs to have a few bend modes, even if it's just one with a selectable mode, or 2 or 3 would be really great, like a dedicated format, a dedicated like bend plus minus or something like that, and maybe a bit reduce or whatever. You could put a button right here and open that up, and then you could have those options, something like that. That would make it pretty much a whole product. I think it really does need that, so that we can use the unison. Now, if you're not using unison, then you can just do all that stuff from using the phase input. But this unison is so sweet. I want to be able to modulate things and then get a nice clean unison as well. But again, this is beta software. I want to keep everyone in mind of that. Now, one thing you might be asking, and I'll probably get more into what you can do with the wavetable synthesizer in another video, but is it significantly better than what we could already do with the sampler? And the answer to that is yes, but there are some things that the sampler can do that the wavetable can't do. And I'll probably get more into that in another video, but just really quick, with the wavetable synthesizer, it can really handle each individual waveform very precisely. When you're scanning through each wave, it's just isolating that one wave. But when we use the format feature within the cycles mode, it can actually grab more of the waveform at once, and it gives you a certain sound that you can't really get from most wavetable synthesizers, and it's really a useful feature. This format here is very useful for sound design. Now let's get into a few of the core DAW features. I think a few people will probably have to be happy about what they did here. Now we have MIDI stretching and compression, and it's super easy to use too. Basically, we just go in here and hold down the Alt key on PC. I'm not sure what it is on Mac. But anyway, yeah, just click and drag, man, and then you're stretching. You can stretch to any point you want. Hold down Shift, and then you can drag it. I'm sorry. Wait, is it Shift? Yeah, Shift, sorry. Hold down Shift and you can drag it to any point you want. So you can make it match a particular length if you want. And it works also with audio. And that's exactly what I was saying. It'd be cool if they made it so that you could stretch the audio at the clip level here instead of having to go inside. And they did that. They didn't do it because they heard me say it, but but they are thinking it in the same way. We can do multiple clips at once, and so you can take a bunch of clips and just stretch them to a particular time. So if I wanted to this section to last exactly 10 seconds, it's pretty easy just to select these things and hit the Alt and then just drag it right to the 10-second mark there. And boom, I have 10 seconds. So that's really cool. You can also change timings of these things using percentage of scale. So I can just put in, I want it to be 100 and something percent. You can keep the position and so forth. So I can just choose whatever percentage I want and okay that, and it'll do it. And also there's a few other features with clips here. You can change the volume of audio by dragging up and down on a section here. Now, one kind of unfortunate part about this is at the standard track height, you can't access, at least in this beta. This is beta 1, by the way. So you can click here and turn up and down the volume really fast, really easy. I love that. That's super cool. I hope they can make it work even at this level, even though there's not as much travel there, but to have to slide it out first is maybe not as convenient. However, you can also click on this, double click, and you can do it within the clip by, oh, there it is. I have to be in clips mode. So then I can go here and drag down. I think I have to be in clip. Let me see. Let me try and stretch mode again. Maybe I just have to find the exact right place. Yeah, it has to be clips mode. Now they also did something where they made kind of doing crossfades a lot easier. So if I wanted just to fade back into this one, I can do that really easily. Or if I want to fade forward into this, it's not going to give me kind of an issue because there's no material behind this or whatever. It'll just go ahead and do it for me. So that's really cool. And then I can also fade backwards into the clip, and it'll actually give me some, I can like start the fade at a certain point and then fade in. And I can also get a little bit of a fade in before the start of the clip. So it makes it a lot more flexible for doing your fades without having to like do a bunch of rigmarole. It's just more intuitive and more smooth and more quick to work. One thing I found that was super cool is that if you have some MIDI and there's an overlap, and so I'm going to make this hit right here, and then I'm going to make one right after it. So there's this new cursor that starts here where I can drag the intersect between these two and drag it to wherever I want and then leave it there. So That's new, and that's a nice usability feature that keeps everything legato, but lets me move the transitionary point. Very nice, very cool. And then that same thing will work in clips as well. I can just drag where the quick clip transition takes place really quickly and easily. So that's cool. That's some good usability stuff there. So it's not just all sound design stuff, guys. There is some new things they put in there to make your life easier in your everyday arranging and mixing and stuff like that. Okay, so the last kind of usability thing is in the project section here. There's a new sections tab, and that allows you to trigger either cue markers or scenes from anywhere in the DAW. So if I'm like in the polygrid here and I'm messing around with some stuff and I want to launch scene 1 here, I can just double click on that. And I'm good to go. I don't have to come out of this view to launch that. Launch that if I want to. And then you can also do cue markers. Let's see, this one is bar 3. So pretty cool. Nice convenient thing here. I can stay locked into doing my sound design here and still be able to get around in my song. So yeah, nice little feature. And also there's a few new grid modules. There's nothing too groundbreaking here. This one is the velocity multi. The velocity multiplier, I think that's what it's for. And that makes it really easy to add volume-based velocity sensitivity to your patch. So that's quicker. These things are mostly just kind of speed up your workflow. And this split one is kind of cool. It allows you to kind of offset the phase into multiple different phases. I might go into that more when I go into what you can do with the new Wavetable modules. Let me know if you really want to see any of these more in depth. They're pretty straightforward. And of course, we already talked about the sub oscillator. There's also a new micro pitch feature that is where you can do more divisions. You can kind of say, I want to divide this interval into this many divisions. And I'm super not into that. I mean, I'm glad it's there. Maybe like for one thing I'm doing, I want to do that. But I don't. That's not what I'm into. So in any case, they have added some new functionality, some stereo to allow the other modules. And that's pretty much it, guys. This is I'm fairly happy with it. It's only one more 1 point release up from the last guy. So for a single point release, is kind of weighty. It's got some beef to it. And it was mostly stuff I wasn't asking for, but it's a lot of stuff that is exciting, especially if they can do a few wave shaping sort of things internally in this Wavetable synthesizer. Then I will be so perfectly pleased with that. And I think, you know what, guys, Bitwig, if you're watching this, go ahead and slip in that MSEG before you seal the deal on point 3, because man, come on, guys, MSEG. Anyway, guys, thanks for checking this out. Hopefully this has been helpful. I think I've kind of gone over everything that you're probably going to be at least mildly interested in. And let me know in the comments what you think about this release, and let me know if you have any questions. And especially let me know if you'd like me to go more in depth with the Wavetable. I'll probably do it anyway, but encourage me and I'll probably do it faster. I have a Patreon up. If you enjoy these videos and you want them to keep coming, it really does help me to justify spending some time in it. And I'm going to start to do, there's already like 25 Bitwig sounds that you can get if you are a Patreon, and I'm going to start to try to add at least one a week to that list and do some videos, more videos on sound design. So thanks again for watching, and hey, have a wonderful day.